My dear friends, have you ever noticed that happiness is the only thing everyone wants, yet the first thing we sacrifice when life becomes difficult? Today, I want to challenge you, not to work harder, not to earn more, not to become perfect, but to challenge yourself to be happy, even when life doesn't cooperate. Happiness is a daily choice, not something that magically appears when life finally becomes perfect. Every morning when you open your eyes, life quietly asks you a question: what will you choose today? And most people don't even realize that they're answering this question unconsciously. They wake up with yesterday's stress, yesterday's disappointments, yesterday's frustrations, and they carry it forward as if it's their identity. But happiness does not depend on your situation, it depends on your decision. Think of it like this: when you walk into a dark room, you don't sit there complaining about the darkness, you reach for the switch. Happiness works the same way. You cannot always control the room, but you can control the switch. You can control how much light you allow inside. Life will give you challenges, relationships that test you, responsibilities that drain you, moments that hurt you. But even in those moments, you still have the freedom to choose your attitude. That freedom is your power. Some people think happiness will come later. I'll be happy when I earn more. I'll be happy when people respect me. I'll be happy when everything settles down. But the truth is, later never comes. There will always be another problem, another expectation, another desire waiting to be fulfilled. If you postpone your happiness until life becomes perfect, you will spend your entire life waiting. Happiness is not the result of a perfect life. Happiness is a habit. You practice inside an imperfect one. Every day you have dozens of small opportunities to choose it. When someone irritates you, you can choose patience. When things don't go your way, you can choose calmness. When you feel stressed, you can choose to breathe instead of panic. When life disappoints you, you can choose gratitude for what you still have. These tiny choices may seem powerless in the moment, but together they shape your emotional destiny. It's like watering a plant. You don't pour a bucket once and expect it to bloom forever. You nurture it daily. Happiness is the same. Small drops, daily practice, consistent choices. And the more you choose it, the stronger it becomes. You train your mind to see meaning instead of misery, growth instead of hurt, possibility instead of loss. The most liberating truth in life is this: you don't have to wait for a new life to feel happy. You just have to make a new decision in the life you already have. Once you understand this, happiness stops being something far away and becomes something you can create, live, and protect every single day. Training your mind is just like training your body. If you don't exercise it regularly, it becomes weak, easily shaken, easily overwhelmed. But when you strengthen it even a little every day, it becomes your greatest source of stability, clarity, and happiness. Most people spend hours working on their appearance, their career, their relationships, but very few spend even minutes working on their mind. And yet your mind is the place where every emotion is born, every decision is shaped, every experience is interpreted. If the mind is weak, life feels heavy. If the mind is strong, life feels manageable, meaningful, even beautiful. Imagine carrying a glass of water. Holding it for a few seconds feels easy. Holding it for an hour becomes painful. Holding it for a day becomes unbearable. The weight of the glass hasn't changed. Only the strain on your mind has. This is how life works. Situations don't always become harder. Sometimes our minds simply become tired, untrained, unprepared. But when you train your mind, that same glass, that same situation feels lighter, easier, more controllable. Training your mind doesn't mean forcing yourself to be positive all the time. It means teaching your mind to return to balance instead of drowning in chaos. It means building inner strength so that emotions don't control you, worries don't consume you, and small problems don't become big battles. You train your mind through repetition, through small daily habits that slowly reshape the inner conversation happening in your head. Gratitude, for example, is not just a nice idea, it is a mental workout. Every time you pause to appreciate something, you strengthen the part of your brain responsible for peace and happiness. Over time, your mind becomes naturally inclined to notice what's right instead of obsessing over what's wrong. Mindfulness is another powerful training tool. When you sit with yourself, even for 5 minutes, observing your breath, your thoughts, your feelings, without judging them, you are strengthening your emotional muscles. You're teaching your mind that it doesn't have to run after every worry, fear, or irritation. You're teaching it to stay present. A mind that can stay present is a mind that can stay peaceful. Compassion is also a form of training. When you choose to understand instead of react, to forgive instead of blame, to stay calm instead of explode, you are practicing emotional discipline. And like any discipline, the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. The truth is, an untrained mind creates unnecessary suffering. It overthinks, it exaggerates, it assumes the worst. But a trained mind becomes your protector. It helps you stay centered even in storms. It reminds you that not every thought deserves your attention, not every emotion deserves your energy, not every situation deserves your peace. There will always be challenges, triggers, and stressful moments. But a trained mind knows how to breathe through them, step back from them, and respond wisely rather than impulsively. It knows how to turn problems into lessons, pain into growth, uncertainty into possibility. And the beautiful thing, you don't have to train your mind for hours, you just have to be consistent. 5 minutes of self-awareness every day is better than 1 hour once a month. 1 moment of gratitude each morning is better than waiting for a perfect life to be thankful. 1 conscious pause before reacting can save you from an entire day of regret. When you commit to training your mind, even in small ways, you slowly transform your inner world. And when your inner world becomes stronger, your outer world automatically becomes more peaceful. Happiness, confidence, resilience, these are not gifts you receive from life, they are muscles you build within yourself. Train your mind and you will train your life. Comparison is one of the quietest yet most powerful thieves of happiness. It sneaks into your mind without permission, without noise, without warning. It whispers, look at them, look what they have, look how far they've gone, and before you even realize it, your peace begins to slip away. The problem is not that others have more, the problem is that you stop seeing to have. Comparison blinds you to your blessings. It steals the beauty of your journey. It disconnects you from your own growth. And the saddest part, it convinces you that you're behind, even when you're exactly where you're meant to be. We live in a world where it's easier than ever to compare. One scroll on social media and suddenly hundreds of lives are in your face. Filtered, edited, highlighted, curated. You see someone's vacation, someone's promotion, someone's expensive lifestyle, someone's perfect looking relationship, and instantly a voice inside you says, my life is not enough, but what you're seeing is not their reality. It's their best 5 seconds put on display. You're comparing your everyday with someone's highlight reel. That is an unfair fight, and your happiness loses every time. What comparison does is subtle yet destructive. It creates an illusion that someone else is ahead and you're falling behind. But everyone's life moves at a different rhythm. Some flowers bloom in the spring, some in the summer, some in the monsoon. The flower that blooms later is not weak, it simply has a different timing. You too have your own timing, your own pace, your own path. When you compare, you leave your path and try to run on someone else's road, and no one wins that race. The truth is, you cannot be happy and constantly compare yourself at the same time. One destroys the other. So how do you escape the trap of comparison? You start by appreciating what you already have. Appreciation doesn't mean settling or stopping your growth. It means recognizing your value. When you appreciate your own progress, comparison loses its power. Gratitude turns what you have into enough, and when life feels like enough, happiness naturally grows. Another powerful shift is to understand this. Everyone is struggling with something you cannot see. Everyone is healing from something you don't know. Everyone is fighting battles they don't talk about. The person you envy might be envying someone else. The person you think is far ahead might feel lost inside. The person who looks confident might be breaking down privately. Comparison makes you assume that others are winning while you're losing, but that's rarely the truth. Instead of comparing, learn to admire. Admiration inspires, comparison suffocates. When you admire someone, you think, if they can do it, maybe I can too. When you compare yourself, you think, why can't I be like them? One opens your heart, the other closes it. The simplest way to protect your happiness is this. Focus on your lane. Run your race. Grow at your pace. Celebrate your progress. Look back at who you were 1 year ago, not who someone else is today. See the growth, the strength, the resilience you've built. That is your true competition, becoming a better version of yourself. When you stop comparing, you start living. You start noticing the small joys, the laughter, the health you have, the people who love you, the opportunities waiting for you. You realize that joy was never missing, your attention was. Comparison limits you, appreciation liberates you, and the moment you choose appreciation, happiness begins to return, slowly, quietly, beautifully. Reacting is easy, responding is powerful. And this single difference, just a few seconds of awareness, can change the entire direction of your life. Most people spend their days reacting. Something happens and immediately their emotions jump out. Someone says something rude and anger rises. A plan fails and panic takes over. A small inconvenience appears and frustration explodes. Reactions are automatic. They don't come from wisdom. They don't come from understanding. They come from habit, from ego, from untrained emotions. Reacting is like throwing fuel on every spark that life throws at you. Even a tiny spark becomes a fire when you react without thinking. But responding is a completely different art. Responding means pausing. Responding means breathing. Responding means choosing your next step instead of being pushed into it. You see, your mind always pushes you to react instantly, urgently, emotionally. But your wisdom invites you to respond, slowly, calmly, carefully. When you react, you lose control. When you respond, you take control back. Think of a calm lake. If you throw a stone into it, you see ripples. But if the lake is stormy, you can't see anything clearly. Your mind works the same. When it is disturbed, when it is full of emotional waves, you react blindly. You can't see the truth of the situation. But when your mind is calm, even for a few seconds, you begin to see clearly. And when you see clearly, you respond wisely. Life will always test you. Someone will offend you. Something will frustrate you. A plan will collapse. A person will misunderstand you. These things are normal. What truly shapes your happiness is not what happens, but how you deal with what happens. When you react, you let situations control your mood. When you respond, you control the situation. Imagine you're driving and someone suddenly cuts you off. Most people react, shouting, honking, becoming angry for the next hour. But what changed? You reacted to a 3-second event and allowed it to steal your peace for the next 60 minutes. That is the cost of reacting. If you respond instead, you take a breath and think, maybe they're in a hurry. Maybe they're not paying attention. Maybe it's not worth losing my peace. And just like that, you keep your calm, your clarity, your happiness. Another example is conflict. Anger in the moment can break relationships that took years to build. Words spoken in reaction can cut deeper than knives. But a calm response, even a delayed one, can save love, preserve respect, and build trust. Sometimes the strongest thing you can say is nothing at all until your heart settles. Responding doesn't mean being weak. It means being wise. It means not letting your emotions drive your life. It means understanding that every action you take has consequences and choosing the one that brings peace instead of chaos. The ability to respond requires two things: self-awareness and self-control. Self-awareness helps you notice what you're feeling. Self-control helps you decide what to do with that feeling. When you practice responding, you begin to notice something magical. You stop getting drained by unnecessary battles. You stop getting trapped in emotional storms. You stop letting people's behavior dictate your mood. You stop giving away your inner power. A reactive person lives like a slave, controlled by situations. A responsive person lives like a leader, guided by clarity. The most peaceful people in the world are not the ones with easy lives. They are the ones who have mastered the art of responding. They don't allow every small event to disturb them. They don't carry every emotion into their day. They don't fight every battle they are invited to. They pause, they breathe, they choose, and because of that, their happiness survives even in difficult times. Remember, your reaction is short-lived, but its damage can be long-lasting. Your response takes a moment of patience, but its impact can be life-changing. When you learn to respond instead of react, you don't just change how you handle situations. You change the quality of your entire life. Protecting your energy is one of the greatest acts of self-love and one of the most misunderstood. People think protecting your energy means avoiding everyone, cutting off relationships, or isolating yourself. But true protection is not about running away from the world. It's about being aware of what you allow inside your inner world. Your energy is your emotional health, your mental peace, your inner clarity, and if you don't protect it, life and people will pull it in every direction until you feel drained, empty, and disconnected from yourself. You see, not everyone who talks to you deserves access to your emotions. Not everyone who enters your life deserves a seat in your heart. And not everyone who wants your attention should be allowed to influence your mood. We live in a world full of noise, people complaining, criticizing, blaming, gossiping, judging, and constantly spreading negativity. If you absorb all of this without filtering it, your mind becomes heavy and your happiness disappears without you even noticing. Imagine your energy like a clean glass of water. Every negative person you allow too close drops a little bit of dirt into it. At first it's small, just a slight change, but over time, drop after drop, your water becomes cloudy. Eventually you can't even see through it. That's what happens to your mind when you surround yourself with toxic environments where people drain you, distract you, or disrespect your peace. Protecting your energy means understanding that you are responsible for the environment you allow around you. You can't control how others behave, but you can control how much access they get. There are people who lift you up when you speak to them. They bring clarity, kindness, encouragement. And there are people who pull you down. They leave you stressed, confused, smaller than before. You must learn to recognize the difference. Some people drain your energy unintentionally. They're always complaining, always negative, always the victim. If you spend too much time with them, you begin to absorb their fear, their anxiety, their hopelessness. You start carrying emotions that are not even yours. Protecting your energy means creating emotional boundaries. It means being compassionate, but not allowing yourself to drown in someone else's storm. Then there are people who drain your energy intentionally. Manipulators, critics, jealous hearts, people who only take and never give. They thrive on your emotional reaction. The more attention you give them, the more control they gain over your mind. Protecting your energy means learning to walk away from conversations that lead nowhere, arguments that don't matter, and people who thrive on chaos. One of the greatest strengths in life is the ability to say, "This is not worth my peace." Not every comment needs your response. Not every situation deserves your reaction. Not every invitation to drama requires your presence. Sometimes protecting your energy is as simple as stepping back. Sometimes it's choosing silence. Sometimes it's limiting your availability. Sometimes it's simply surrounding yourself with people who make you feel light, not heavy. Another important part of protecting your energy is protecting the thoughts you entertain. Your mind is like a sacred room. If you fill it with negativity, self-doubt, and overthinking, it becomes a prison. But if you fill it with gratitude, clarity, and perspective, it becomes a sanctuary. You must become the gatekeeper, choosing what enters and what leaves. Social media also plays a role. You may not realize it, but every scroll is feeding your energy something: comparison, jealousy, insecurity, fear. Protecting your energy means unfollowing anything that disturbs your peace, even if it's popular, even if everyone loves it. If it doesn't bring you growth or joy, you don't need it in your mental space. Protecting your energy also means taking care of yourself without feeling guilty. resting when you're tired, saying no when your heart is overwhelmed, spending time alone when you need clarity, surrounding yourself with silence when the world becomes too loud. You don't have to explain your boundaries to anyone. Peace explained is peace compromised. With time, you begin to understand that your energy is one of your strongest assets. When your energy is clean, you think better, love better, work better, and live better. You don't get triggered easily, you don't get lost in drama, and you stop wasting time on what doesn't matter. And the beautiful part, when you protect your energy, you also increase it. Your joy becomes deeper, your mind becomes clearer, your heart becomes lighter, your purpose becomes stronger. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is essential. Because when your energy is healthy, you show up as your best self for your family, your work, your dreams, and most importantly, for you. When you guard your inner peace like it is precious because it is, life begins to feel simpler, calmer, and infinitely more beautiful. Purpose is not just a word, it is the invisible force that shapes your happiness, your identity, your discipline, your decisions, and your destiny. When you wake up with a sense of purpose, life feels meaningful. But when you wake up without it, even simple tasks feel heavy and exhausting. Purpose is the fuel that keeps you moving when motivation fades, when struggles appear, when life disappoints you. It gives you direction when everything around you feels uncertain. Think about how you feel on mornings when you have something important to do, something exciting, meaningful, or valuable. You wake up differently, you don't need alarms to push you, you don't need inspiration from outside. There is a natural fire inside you. That fire is purpose. Now think about days when you have no direction, no clarity, no reason to put effort into anything. Even a small task feels like a mountain. You drag yourself through the day, hoping it will end soon. That emptiness is the absence of purpose. The truth is, human beings are not built for comfort. We are built for contribution. We feel happiest when we are growing, creating, giving, building, or becoming something meaningful. Purpose gives your mind something to focus on. When your mind is engaged in something meaningful, it stops dwelling on stress, negativity, comparison, and fear. Purpose is like a bright light. It does not allow darkness to stay for long. People often misunderstand purpose. They think purpose must be something huge, something dramatic, something world-changing. But purpose doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be known by millions. Purpose can be as simple as raising your children well, becoming healthier, helping someone every day, improving your craft, serving your community, or becoming a kinder human being. Purpose is not measured by size. It is measured by sincerity. Even a small purpose can bring big happiness if it is meaningful to your heart. Without purpose, you begin to drift. You move through life without direction, reacting to everything but guided by nothing. A life without purpose is like a ship at sea without a destination. The waves control it, not the captain. But when you have purpose, you navigate life differently. Challenges don't break you, they build you. Failures don't discourage, they redirect you. Criticism doesn't stop you, it strengthens you. Purpose turns obstacles into teachers. Purpose also gives you emotional strength. When you know why you're doing something, the how becomes easier. Look at people who persevere through hardships. They always have a strong why. That why becomes their inner anchor, keeping them steady through storms. When you live with purpose, you become less dependent on external validation. You no longer need approval from people. You are guided by your inner calling, not by other people's expectations. You start making decisions that match your values, not decisions that please the world. And that shift brings incredible peace and confidence. Purpose also brings happiness because it creates progress. Your brain is wired to feel joy when it senses progress, even small progress. Every step you take toward your purpose tells your mind, I am growing, I am moving, I am becoming better. This feeling builds emotional satisfaction and inner fulfillment. One of the most beautiful things about purpose is that it evolves. The purpose you have at 20 may be different from the purpose you have at 40. Life changes you, experiences shape you, pain teaches you, healing transforms you. And as you grow, your purpose grows with you. But purpose does not find you. You find purpose through action, by trying new things, by exploring your interests, by noticing what makes you come alive, by observing what breaks your heart enough that you want to fix it, by seeing what you naturally care about, what you naturally excel at, what you naturally return to. Some people discover their purpose early, some discover it late, some discover it after pain, some discover it through joy. There is no fixed timeline, but the sooner you start searching, the sooner life begins to feel meaningful. When you have purpose, loneliness becomes solitude, discipline becomes natural, effort becomes enjoyable, and happiness becomes steady. You don't need temporary highs or constant entertainment to feel good. Purpose creates a deeper, more stable form of happiness, the kind that stays with you even when life is difficult. Purpose gives you something to wake up for, something to fight for, something to grow toward, something to live for. And when a human being has something to live for, their happiness becomes unshakable. Purpose doesn't just change your life, it changes you. Gratitude is not just saying thank you, it is a way of seeing the world, a way of training your mind to notice what is present instead of what is missing. Most people live in a constant state of, I don't have enough, I'm not enough, or life is not giving me enough. And when the mind focuses on lack, it becomes blind to abundance. Gratitude is the gentle hand that opens your eyes again to the blessings that were always there but often ignored. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotional habits you can develop because it rewires your entire mental system. The human brain has a natural bias toward negativity. It notices problems faster than blessings, remembers criticism more than praise, and fears the future more than it trusts it. Gratitude breaks this cycle. It shifts your attention from fear to appreciation, from stress to peace, from frustration to fulfillment. Think about how often we take things for granted. The fact that you woke up this morning, not everyone did. The fact that you can see, hear, walk, think, breathe, these are miracles millions would give anything for. The fact that you have a roof over your head, food on your table, and at least one person who cares about you, none of these are small blessings. But we rarely pause to acknowledge them because the mind is always chasing what's next. Gratitude teaches you to slow down, to breathe, to look around and realize that even if everything is not perfect, there is still so much that is beautiful, meaningful, and worth celebrating. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking gratitude will come after life becomes better. They say things like, I'll be grateful once I get that job, I'll be grateful once I make more money, I'll be grateful once my relationship improves. But that's not how gratitude works. Gratitude is not the result of a perfect life. Gratitude is what creates a better life. When you start appreciating what you have, you naturally attract more goodness. Your mind becomes clearer, your heart becomes lighter, your attitude becomes more positive, and opportunities begin to open, not because the world changed, but because you changed. Gratitude even transforms how you handle challenges. When something goes wrong, instead of collapsing into negativity, a grateful mind asks, what is this teaching me? What strength am I gaining from this? How is this shaping me into someone better? This perspective doesn't remove the pain, but it gives you a sense of meaning within the pain. It helps you see that even difficult moments carry hidden gifts. Resilience, growth, wisdom, patience. Gratitude also improves your relationships. When you appreciate people, you stop expecting perfection from them. You stop focusing on their flaws and start noticing their efforts, their kindness, their presence. And when people feel appreciated, they naturally give more love, more care, more loyalty. Gratitude builds bridges where ego builds walls. Another beautiful part of gratitude is that it grounds you in the present moment. Anxiety pulls you toward the future. Regret pulls you toward the past. Gratitude brings you home to the now, and happiness only exists in the now. That's why grateful people feel happier, even if their lives are not perfect. They are fully awake to the gifts of the moment. You can practice gratitude in many simple ways by pausing each morning to acknowledge three things you're thankful for, by appreciating small joys, a warm cup of tea, a cool breeze, the smile of someone you love, by expressing gratitude to people who have supported you, by journaling or mentally listing blessings at night, by shifting your focus from why me to what can I learn. And the truth is, no matter how difficult life gets, there is always something to be grateful for. Your breath, your heartbeat, your ability to try again, your capacity to change, your opportunity to grow. Gratitude does not deny your struggles, it simply refuses to let them define your entire life. When you build gratitude into your daily mindset, you begin to experience a quieter, deeper, more stable kind of happiness, one that doesn't depend on circumstances. Gratitude strengthens your emotional foundation so that whatever storms come, they shake you less and teach you more. Gratitude is a habit, a mindset, a way of living. And once you choose it consistently, you'll realize something profound. You were never missing happiness. You were only missing awareness of how much happiness you already had.